Honestly speaking, most of my life I only knew one gear, and that was go, at full throttle at that. Most of my childhood was spent busting down 95. All my Florida residents know, from Palm Beach to Fort Lauderdale to Miami, there was always somebody to see. There was always something to do. When we were at home, it was like my mom would get this itch, like the walls were caving in on her, and then it was like, okay, we back out. For her mindset was, I can rest when I'm gone. And so doing things was where I saw her smiling. It was where she found joy, and it was a mindset and a behavior that I put on in my adult life. But what that led to was always juggling multiple responsibilities, constantly tired, pushing myself to the limit day in and day out. And yes, in those moments, I felt proud of myself because of how I valued busyness, how I valued productivity, but that left me feeling tired. That cycle that I was going through day in and day out left me burnt out. And if you're like, I feel you, I feel seen, then this video is for you, because I have recovered and healed from burnout. It is something that I'm very mindful and intentional about not passing on to my kids, and also just loving on myself. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about some mindset shifts and some strategies that you can do starting today for you to start to step outside of that cycle of exhaustion and burnout. Now, before we jump into all things burnout, I want to hear from you first down in the comments. Let me know, what is your relationship with rest? Is it something that's good? Are you working on it? Do you need to get started with it? I will be leaving timestamps down below. I also will have additional resources linked in the description box below as well. Now, let's jump into this discussion about burnout. The tricky thing about burnout is that the symptoms can look like a lot of different things. I remember having headaches, tired, feeling like I just needed more rest, loss of appetite, irritability, right? These are things that I was having, but I wasn't necessarily connecting them with being depleted and disconnected from myself because I was burnt out. I was like, oh, I need to drink more water. Oh, I need to eat. Oh, I need to get more sleep. Oh, I need to get off my feet. And so it wasn't until I took that time to look at the relationship that I was having with myself and really have those discussions. One of the discussions that I had was with my best friend, and she was listening to me vent and talk about, like, I don't understand why I'm feeling this way. And she paused me in a very gentle way and said, if I was telling you all these things, best friend, what would you tell me? I tell you no lie, my whole world shifted, because the words that I was telling myself were not words of life. They were not words of encouragement. They were words of, get through this. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you got to do. And so one of the first things that I did to heal was practice self-compassion. I was telling myself all these things when I really should have been telling myself, listen to your body. Listen to the signals that it's telling you. It's telling you that it's tired. It's telling you that you need to rest. Why are you ignoring these things? And so I wasn't treating myself like my own best friend. I was almost treating myself like, I can understand that being independent. I can understand having these goals, having these dreams, having these passions, because I have all of that. But what is so important is to also have that compassion for yourself so that you're able to take that moment, so that you're able to pause and reevaluate and listen to yourself. So I started shifting what I told myself. I started to say, wow, you're really tired. Let me take care of you. How am I going to schedule self-care this week? I'm so proud of you for being able to achieve this, but when you get home, don't take on nothing else. Sit down, relax, rest. I started to shift, looking forward to doing all the things, to saying, hey, what can I do for myself? For you, I want you to ask yourself, what would you tell your best friend? What would you say to somebody that you love and you care about? Are you telling yourself those same things? Are you telling yourself words of life and of encouragement and of rest? Or are you just saying, girl, get through it? Before recording this video, I was doing a little bit of journaling, and I was like, what is happiness to you? What are some of your happy moments? Years ago, they were trips and brunches and activities. They all surrounded of me doing the thing. And then I realized that that came from my childhood, from seeing my mom always be happy with her siblings and my cousins and friends, and always doing things amongst other people. That's where I saw her happy, and that's where I also placed happiness. And so for me, it started to shift into the small joys of life. So the second thing that you can do is start to appreciate the simple and small joys. So now I could be watering my plants, singing to them, taking daily walks, stretching, reading my Bible, journaling, and now I place that in my mind as joy for me. The mind and the body are powerful things. You need to stop sleeping on it, because once you start to realize the power of your mind and of your body, you will realize that the things that you're doing all track back to something. I love brunches because I'm gonna do the things. I love trips. I love having a wonderful time. I love going to my kids' events because they in all the things too. But now I put an emphasis on, if we're watching TV, really allowing that to be rest, taking time to do puzzles and to color and to build things and to paint, and really allowing them to also see that, hey, I prioritize rest, breaking that generational cycle of rest being taboo, of rest being for lazy people. It's not. Finding joy in the smaller things is such a beautiful thing and such a beautiful mindset for you to break that cycle of exhaustion, of fatigue, of chronic illnesses that happen simply from stress and not resting because you're not listening to yourself. It's the shift of finding joy in smaller things that you can do in everyday life that doesn't exhaust you, that doesn't deplete you, that you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I got to rebound from this too. Yeah, breaking that. And I love that for me, and I want you to love that for you too. Speaking of doing all the things, society puts busyness and productivity on such a pedestal, honey. Most of us is just tired, okay? We are disconnecting from ourselves, from people, from groups, and that's because we put so much emphasis on your value being what you can produce. We look at the results and the outcomes. That's computer talk. Human nature got a whole lot of feelings and thoughts and beliefs going on here. So you can have all these other gifts that you have that aren't even getting the light that they need and the appreciation, because you're like, well, what can I do? How can I serve? What looks like success for society might look different for you, but you're not giving yourself the opportunity to do that. A part of my healing journey was going back to moments in my life where I didn't really celebrate the accomplishment. I wasn't present in the moment because I was busy doing. I was on that one gear and that was go. And so when I got my master's, which was such a huge thing because I do come from a pretty big family, my aunts, I got like a total of 9, and most of them had 5 and 6 kids. But out of all of my cousins, only about 4 of us got our bachelor's degree and only 2 of us got our master's. Part of that healing, I've learned that when you just be, you're able to celebrate, you're able to recognize the wins and really give yourself the pat on the back and the praise that you deserve. And so if you're speeding through life right now, I want you to really take time to shift, because you're winning. You just may not be able to see it. It may not look like what society deems as successful, as productivity, as busy. So breaking the cycle involves giving yourself permission to rest, to slow down, to pause, and really connect back with your body and connect back with your self-worth and connect back with your self-identity, and not placing in things that are going to rob you of so many of the awesome things that you is doing in life. If you're thinking to yourself, wow, those sound like really good things, those are mindset shifts that I want to do, can you give me some things that are more practical? Absolutely. One of the strategies that you can do is to do a life audit. I want you to take out some paper, some pen, and really write down all of your commitments that you have to do daily, weekly, for the month, and really get a full scope of what you got going on in your life. You just kind of here, bouncing. And so it's hard to ground yourself, hard to care for yourself and love on yourself and rest, which is what's needed to recover from burnout, if you don't even know where you got to be, what you got to do, and how it fits in the grand scheme of your life. Strategy number 2 is to limit exposure to stressors. What do I mean by that? Once you done got a clear picture of what you got going on in your life, now you can identify the sources of the stressors in your life. That may be a toxic work environment, toxic friends, toxic partner, just a whole lot of stuff that's stressing you out. Now, let me say this. Some stress is good stress and it's necessary and you can't eliminate it. But things such as people calling me, venting, complaining, and ain't doing nothing with their life, yeah, you could keep all that energy over there. I don't need to take that on. I'm not saying you got to do that. I'm just saying I was identifying my stressors, and there was some people that I had to release, and that's okay. I love that for them, and I love that even more for myself. So as you're able to identify the stressors, look for places where you can limit time with certain people, delegate certain tasks, set some boundaries with yourself so that you're able to really navigate and operate and move at your highest potential and not always from zero. Now, it wouldn't be me if I did did not say self-care. You gotta love on yourself. You gotta care for yourself in this journey and healing. You gotta be mindful of taking time for yourself, being patient, because you didn't get here overnight. So it ain't gonna be overnight of you recovering from it. Resting are also forms of self-care. So it's so important not to just think that self-care is doing things, but rest is actually a self-care practice as well. If you're wanting more ideas on self-care, I will leave this video for you right here. I will also link it for you down in the description box below as well. But practicing self-care allows you to heal and to love yourself. When you're exhausted and depleted, you start to disconnect from yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. And so self-care allows you to have those personal and intimate moments with yourself and shift that relationship of how you value yourself and how you see yourself. And most importantly, how you take care of yourself. I want you to know that recovering from burnout is possible, but you gotta do the things. And I'm not talking about just trips and all the luxury things, but do the small things, the things that people can't see, the things that people don't know, because it's something that you're doing internally, your mindset, how you operate, how you care for yourself, right? The boundaries that you're setting, the things that you're doing for yourself to be the best version of yourself. Often they're not seen. Often people won't recognize it, but you will. And that's what's most important, because no one else might not recognize all them symptoms and red flags that's going on from the burnout, but you are. And that's why I'm talking to you and telling you to do all the right things. If you're wanting to know other ways that you can invest in yourself and prioritize yourself, then I think you're going to like this video right here. I will also link it down in the description box below. I want to hear from you. Let me know what are some things that you're going to do to recover from burnout. Let me know your ideas. Maybe I will learn something as well, and it also benefit the community that we're building over here. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.